What's up, you guys? Happy Tuesday. It is great to see you. Bear with me for just a second. I had some tough technical difficulties as I was getting things set up here. I want to make sure our folks over on Facebook are actually able to join in. Let's see here. Okay. I see the issue here. So I've got the wrong, for some reason, it's got me trying to push this stream to a different day. Let me swap this here and make sure that we are good to go. Weird. Y'all, I've had so many issues with live streaming to Facebook. I've had to delete events, recreate events. I can see a thing here that, let's see if that fixes it. There was a little button I switched on to automatically go live, and it just wouldn't go live automatically. So hopefully we should be good over on Facebook now. Let me just confirm that we are good to go over here. I can see in the user interface that it says we're live. I want to make sure our folks on Facebook are able to participate as well. I don't want to take too much more time on this. If it's not going to happen tonight, it's not going to happen tonight, and we'll just have to move on and stick with YouTube. All right. Let me copy that event URL and see if that's going to work. Man, that's so weird, y'all. Okay, I guess it says it's live streaming. Whether or not you can see me on Facebook, I don't know. If you're over on Facebook and you see this later on YouTube, my apologies. I have tried my best to get this thing working, and I've just had so many issues. We're going to move on for the sake of time. Happy Tuesday again. I hope you guys have had a wonderful weekend and beginning of your week. My name is Kyle Kurzhal. I like to describe myself as your go-to guy for AI and automations to get back your time and grow your business, your investing, whatever it is that you're doing in life that you want to get your time back on. I am here to help. I have over 11 years of experience in the automation space as a software engineer. I've been watching AI develop over the last decade, learning along the way, and more recently, it's become much more practical for the end user, the day-to-day non-techie person. And so my hope with this session is to provide you guys, whether you have a technical background or not, with the information that you need to be able to go and be effective and get back your time on a day-to-day basis. So we do things during this live stream like cover upcoming really newly released news, upcoming features, releases, things like that. Typically, we focus on some of the major players out there like Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI. Occasionally, we might get a few other things here or there. I'm hoping to expand that in the future. I just have to make sure I have a way to pull all that data in, so that way I have an easy way to get that information to you guys. So that's what this session is about. It's also a time for you guys to be able to come and ask questions. So if you have questions about something related to AI and automations, then this is the place to be. If you have those questions, drop them over in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. I have the chat pulled up on the side over here so I can see everything coming in live. If you happen to have something that's a little too long to fit inside of the chat, you can either break it up into multiple messages, or I have a link there inside of the chat where you can go ahead and submit a much longer question to me. And I have a spreadsheet set up on the side that will actually go into automatically. So I do watch all of those things. I am happy to answer your questions, whether they are a newbie question or whether you're a business owner with an existing set of systems and you just want to know how you can add in certain things. Anything. Just feel free to ask. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you, I really don't know, but I'll give you my best guess at it. All right. I think that covers most of the groundwork here. The last thing I want to mention is that I have been doing for the last couple of months a giveaway of Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Money Models. This text on the screen is not entirely accurate. It says 6:30 Central Time. We have changed things a little bit since then. I really need to get this thing fixed. We should go to more like 7, sometimes as late as 7:30. That's kind of late. But at the end, I'm giving away a copy or multiple copies of this book. So I've got like up to 9 to give away during these live streams. And if you have an interest in his book, $100 Million Money Models, then all you have to do is go to that link, submit your information there. I go at the end into the form to see who submitted. You have a great chance of winning. It's not like we get hundreds of viewers at a time. All you have to do, if you win, you'll get notified. You'll get like sent an email. I'll announce it here as well. And all you have to do is go click the link that's in that email, open it up, and you just pay for the shipping. The only thing I didn't pay for was the shipping. I paid for the book itself. So it's like $5, and then you can have that book physically delivered to your doorstep. That just goes straight to the shipping company. I don't make any profit off of that. So if that's something that you would like, whether for yourself, for a friend, for family, maybe you know somebody who would find value in this live stream and who would also like a copy of that, invite them, bring them over, and we'll be giving that away at the end of the live stream. To make it a little easier for you guys to go ahead and submit that information, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that link over here in our chat, and I'm going to pin that as well on YouTube, and then I'm going to put that over here in Facebook if you're on Facebook and able to see this at all. All right. Gosh, Facebook. You're making me struggle here, Facebook. All right. So, with that out of the way, let's kind of move on into our next segment here. We're going to cover a couple of news articles that have come out. And there's one thing I kind of want to briefly touch on. It's not necessarily a news article, but it's something I saw recently come out that might be kind of exciting for anybody who's currently using AI going forward. We'll go over these news articles, briefly touch on that one thing, and then the last thing that we're going to probably do, this is going to be where we spend the majority of our time this evening, is picking up where we left off about 2 weeks ago, where I started playing with this tool from Google called Anti-Gravity. Anti-Gravity is basically like a code editor, but it has a bunch of like agentic or AI agentic tooling built into it. So that way you can automate the building of your software. So what we were doing was we were vibe coding out this goal tracking software, because for this next year, I'm trying to be a better steward of the things that I have. I want to make sure that I really set goals and then break down those goals and put them into my calendar in a time boxed way. And I am just not aware off the top of my head of any service that automatically kind of does all these things. Maybe it does exist, but I think it's a good exercise to practice some vibe coding with this tool. And you guys can kind of see how I do it and work alongside me. Maybe it inspires you to go open up Anti-Gravity yourself and go play with some of these things. So that's what we're going to be doing. And then we'll wrap it up with our giveaway and then close everything out for the evening. All right, let's get into it. Let's take a look at our first article here. So, learners and educators are AI's new super users. This is coming from Google. So, they had this annual Our Life with AI survey that shows the top reason that people use AI is to learn and understand new concepts, not just to be entertained. And I would strongly agree with this. I mean, this is how I use it, and I think if you're not using AI to help you learn about new concepts and explore ideas and ask questions, then you're really, really, really missing out here. So they say for the past 3 years, we conducted this study. Most recent survey found something fascinating. The first time, the top motivation for using AI is learning. So the survey conducted late last year across 21 countries, 21,000 participants, reveals first that the majority of people in nearly every country surveyed say that they use AI chatbots, and critically that their motivation for using AI changed from curiosity to core utility. Before this year, top motivation was for entertainment. Now 74% use it to learn something new or understand a complex topic. Yeah, I mean, it's great because you can ask it literally, hey, explain this to me like I'm 5, or explain this to me at high school reading level. Things like that to break down the concept and make it more understandable. You can ask follow-up questions to clarify anything that isn't immediately obvious to you. Student teachers and parents are using AI. 85% of students 18 plus are using AI. Students use it to help with their schoolwork. 83% understand complex topics. 78% manage day-to-day life tasks like trips or workouts. 54% and make decisions. 42%. 81% of teachers report using AI, far surpassing the global average. 66% of global public reports using an AI tool. Let's see here. Some of educators' top use cases are using it to learn something new or understanding a complex topic, 77%, saving time, 75%. We observed a time saving during a 6-month pilot program. 76% of parents said they use AI, 77% to learn something new, 73% to assist with work. Nearly half are using it to explore changing careers and making more money, starting a new business. Let's see here. More importantly, rather than fearing cognitive decline, teachers, students, parents believe that it has a positive impact on how we learn. Majority of teachers also believe AI will improve teaching quality and student outcomes. So there is a perceived impact here. I think it all just depends on how you use it. If you just want to sit around and do nothing and you want the thing to do all your work, then, I think there is going to be a cognitive decline here that you need to be concerned about. However, if you are using it to explicitly understand a topic in more depth, do research, dig in, ask questions, things like that, then it's going to be a fantastic tool for you. I found that for myself personally, it has really helped me to do a lot of like research, find relevant information very quickly, make decisions, things like that, in an iterative way. So I would agree with this. It all just depends on how you use it at the end of the day. All right, let's move on to our next article. So this one is related to economics and also use of AI. So this was put out by Anthropic. They have this economic index, new building blocks for understanding AI use. They have a full report here. And if you really are curious about this, you can go find this thing on their website. And this is a very, very detailed report. They've got like a chapter 1, a chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, concluding remarks. So this is a very, very detailed report. Well, we're not going to go into all of that report. We're just going to kind of look at the high-level summary here of some of these items. So let's take a look and see what's going on here with the economics. And the reason we're doing this is because if you're at all doing any kind of business or investing, you need to kind of be on the lookout for what's going on in the economy and to understand the impact of some of these tools on the economy. How are people using these things? It helps you identify where your opportunities are. And it also helps you identify if maybe something is overly saturated. So those are the reasons we cover things like this, even though this isn't explicitly about a new tool or something like that. It's just good to keep in your mind. And maybe it will also spark some ideas of how you can use AI in your day-to-day business and your work, whatever it is that you're doing. So let's see here. I'm going to move myself over to the right-hand side of the screen. So is artificial intelligence really making people faster at work? What sorts of tasks do AI support best? And how might it change the nature of people's occupations? At Anthropic, we're measuring real-world AI use on an ongoing basis to answer questions like these. Our privacy-preserving analysis method allows us to learn more about conversations on Claude AI. First-party okay, let's see here. They're adding a new level of detail to it. In our fourth report, we're introducing what we've called economic primitives, a set of 5 simple foundational measurements to track the economic impacts of Claude over time. Our initial set includes task complexity, skill level, purpose for work, education, or personal use, AI autonomy, and success. Okay. So, let's see. These primitives provide a leading indicator of AI's potential economic impacts and allow us to answer far more complex questions about how AI is already changing jobs. Our latest report, which samples conversations from November 2025, predominantly using Claude Sonnet 4.5, uses our primitives to explore a wide range of questions that we otherwise wouldn't be able to answer, including how Claude's task level success rates change more complex tasks and whether the use of Claude to date might portend a net de-skilling effect on many jobs. Okay, interesting. Let's see here. Let me do something here. Give me just a second, guys. I want to make sure. All right, there we go. Okay. So what we've learned from our economic primitives. Okay. Tasks. Which tasks does AI speed up and by how much? We found that more complex tasks were sped up the most by Claude. Okay, that's really great to hear because if you're doing a lot of complex stuff over and over again, and particularly the things that are like eating up the most amount of your time, if you can figure out a way to automate those away, then you're gonna be able to go focus on other things that are really high value. We measure this by what Claude estimates as the number of years of schooling required to understand the conversation inputs. Task with prompts requiring a high school education were sped up by a factor of 9. Those requiring college degrees were sped up by a factor of 12. Wow, that's impressive. These results imply AI productivity gains are currently accruing in tasks that require relatively high human capital, which is consistent with evidence that white-collar professionals are more likely to use AI at work. Yeah. Technically, I guess I would be considered a white-collar professional just as a software engineer, and I can definitely say it is definitely helping speed up my workflow because a lot of the stuff that I do is very complex. So the same trend holds, albeit in a weaker form. Okay. Completes tasks that require a college degree 66% of the time compared to 70% for tasks that require less than a high school education. This reduces but doesn't eliminate the overall effect. Its impact on task speed up scales more sharply with complexity than complexity correlates. So that's the little chart here. So they have, let me see if I can zoom in here and make that a little easier to see for everyone. So okay, that's their API. The blue is their API, and then their orange is like the Claude AI tool. So human years of schooling, as it goes up, we see a speed up in the amount of time. And then for success rate versus education, our success rate goes down as we increase in the number of years of schooling. So basically, the more complex tasks they're more likely to fail, but they have a higher, like a multi-times speed up of the amount of work that you're doing. You know what? I'm going to keep that zoomed in because I think that's easier for you guys probably to read. What are the time horizons over which it can support tasks? Let's see. It shows that longer tasks are harder for the AI models to complete, but the length of time that it can work is steadily increasing as models get better. we're able to complement this analysis. Okay, using our, okay, and so duration, human only, time and hours. So like the longer the task would typically take, the task success goes down. And that's 8, and that's under 60, that's between 60 and 65% roughly. If it's a 4-hour, we're right around 65. So most of this you can see is kind of above this 65% rate, which is pretty good. I got to say, that's really nice. Let's see here. API data finds that Claude is 50% successful at tasks nearly twice as long. Okay. On Claude AI, the duration is vastly longer, still around 19 hours. Interesting. Okay. How does it vary across country? Okay. Let's see. If I zoom, can I zoom in further? Okay, GDP per working capita, and then, okay, so there's like work here, coursework in the middle, and then personal. Okay, the per capita income. So basically the income per person on average, roughly, is you can kind of see what the trend is here. So if you're, that's pretty spread for like personal stuff. For coursework, looks like there's more aggregated down here. And then it looks like there's probably more aggregated over here as well, if I'm eyeballing that correctly. So very interesting. So AI is just increasing in its usage, but it's also very, very useful. Let's see here. Let me zoom out just a little bit so I can, it's not too big for my eyes. Okay. Coverage, we found that 6% of jobs in 2025, that it was being used for a quarter of their tasks. Pooling data across reports has risen to 49%. So we've had about a 13% increase in the number of jobs that I guess it's being used for a quarter of their for people's tasks. Okay, we graph below, we plot the measure of occupations. Okay. So we have our effective AI coverage here, and then we have our task coverage here. Let's see here. I want to make sure I understand this properly. So we find that some occupations like data entry, radiologists are much more heavily affected by AI than task coverage alone would suggest, while others like teachers, software developers are relatively less affected. Okay, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Our revised assessment is still limited. We only assess tasks that are performed on Claude AI. Task content. Let's see, how long is this thing? Okay, I don't want to bore everybody too much. For the question we asked is whether AI covers represent higher or lower skilled components of a given occupation. Using an estimate, we create the skill level for each task. It's relatively more likely to cover the tasks that require higher educational levels. Interesting. Tasks that require an average of 14.4 years of education, which is an associate's degree, relative to the economy's average 13.2 shown below. This aligns with our earlier finding that it's used more frequently by white-collar workers. And some of that just kind of makes sense. Like I don't know, for example, if you're a blue-collar worker and you're on an assembly line, or if you are, you're doing plumbing all day, like hands-on with the plumbing. If you're not like in the office doing stuff, like there's not really much use for AI for you, except maybe for like personal use. But in terms of work, yeah, that totally makes sense. It's going to be your office workers who are going to probably have the most immediate impact on some of these things. Now, I do think some of the like ancillary tasks around the blue collar workers will be impacted over time. Like for example, a voice AI receptionist that's able to answer the phone, right? That's kind of like a desk job though. It could be on the go. You could be, a solopreneur on the go and answering the phone. So like that, those are the kinds of ways that I would see that. But otherwise, I would agree that probably the majority of your other tasks for blue collar workers are just not going to happen. It's just because there isn't a need for it. If you're doing something with your hands, like unless you're trying to troubleshoot something, or find some kind of information very quickly, and I don't know how, I don't know that you would really see that very much. So that totally makes sense. And maybe I'm wrong there. Let me pause here and see if we've got any comments or questions here in the chat so far. Okay. Let's check our spreadsheet. No questions. Okay. All right. Let's continue. So we estimated how removing these tasks would shift the task composition of people's jobs. This would de-skill, okay, as a first order effect, this would de-skill jobs on average, since it would remove those higher education tasks. Professions like technical writers, travel agents, teachers would be affected. Though a rare few, like real estate managers, would see effects going the other way. Okay. We're not necessarily predicting that this de-skilling will occur. It's just possible that even if AI fully automated the tasks it currently supports, the labor market would dynamically adjust in ways that this analysis doesn't really account for. Okay. Interesting. So basically, if I understood what they're saying here, if you were using AI for, a lot of these high skill, when they say high skill, I mean like college educated type of high skill or like desk job. Like when you implement AI for a lot of these things, it might remove the required amount of skill for that job position, because somebody of a lower skill can still perform the things that are needed by just using the AI. That's the way I understand that. So that's a very interesting perspective. So they're saying that it's possible that even if AI fully automates this, then our labor market might just adjust in ways that don't account. All right, aren't accounted for in the analysis. So, I mean, I think that's reasonable too, like, because, for example, with me, just again, if I were able to automate away my software writing, I would just go find other things to focus my time on. Or what I would do is I would be investing a lot more time into the pieces that the AI couldn't really fully automate away, like reviewing the product and so on and so forth, and just making sure like the technical pieces for security or whatever it is, performance, those kinds of things. I would go dig into those things and spend a lot more time in those places. So I think that, I think that's a reasonable assessment. Okay, aggregate impact. In our earlier research, we estimated that a widespread adoption could increase labor productivity by 1.8 percentage points year over year for the next 10 years. Around double the trend rate. New primitives allow us to revisit this analysis. Okay, based on our estimates of speedups alone, we replicated earlier finding of 1.8%. When we account for task reliability, that is, we adjust our estimate of task level time savings by the probability that the task is successful. Our estimate falls by about 1/3 for tasks completed to 1.2% per year, and slightly more to 1.0 for the typical more challenging tasks. Okay. Even a 1% increase in labor productivity growth could be notable. It would return U.S. productivity growth to the rates of the late 1990s and 2000s. This top-line estimate doesn't account for all possibilities. The AI models become much more powerful. Yep. Yeah, because, I mean, it's only been... How many years has it been since ChatGPT came out? Not that many. And that was the first big release for the public, at least. And I mean, now we have these things actually able to go and like write code and execute the code and spin up your app and all these things. So let's see here. Okay, so we got this last two sections here in conclusion. Okay, updates on our previous measures. We collect a new round of data, tracking from previous reports. This allows us to pick up on trends. Here we mostly find only small evolutions from previous analysis. Okay, first use of Claude has remained highly concentrated among certain tasks. Okay, sample includes 3,000 unique work tasks on Claude AI. Top 10% account for 24% of the set. Steadily increased from 21% in January 2025. Computer and mathematical tasks continue to dominate Claude use. They're about 1/3 of all conversations. That's very interesting. So there's a lot of mathematical use of these things. Now the models can actually do this. Like before, you know, I'm a part of the Sub2 community and Gator Method community, and I was telling people about a year ago-ish that maybe even more like 9 months ago or so. Hey, you know, you probably shouldn't be using AI to help you underwrite your real estate because it was hallucinating on the math. But now these AI models can like invoke tools that actually like run code that essentially will run a calculation for you. And so now it can do that stuff way more reliably. And that totally, you know, that tracks. I'm not, it's interesting that half of the usage is for mathematical tasks. Although it also includes this group of computer tasks. So it's not just mathematical. And I wonder if that means like doing something on your computer, like having it take an action on your behalf. Second, our new report finds that augmentation, 52% of conversations, has overtaken automation, 45%. As the most popular pattern interaction with Claude. This is a reversal of what we saw in August, when automation led 49 to 47. We assessed this question over a longer time frame. We still see a low rise in automation's share of tasks. Augmentation. Okay. So augmentation as opposed to automation, my understanding here is going to be that automation would be like a full-on replacement. Like you have some set of tasks and you fully automate them away, whereas augmentation is, hey, you're just doing stuff and you're asking it to help you do those things in your task. Not completely replacing the you doing the task, but just helping you do that more effectively. That's interesting. Latest analysis, number 3, the latest analysis shows that geographic concentration remains evident. The US, India, Japan, UK, and South Korea still lead in overall AI use. Adoption remains well explained by GDP per capita. That said, in the US, we observed greater changes. Claude has become more noticeably more evenly distributed across the US states. Okay, our model predicts that Claude would be used equal across country in 2 to 5 years. Very interesting. Okay, and so these are going to be the countries that are really, it seems like, embracing, particularly Claude. So they're not looking necessarily at OpenAI's usage, which is they're growing as well. So this makes sense. These are very tech forward countries. Let's see here. Conclusion, most immediate conclusion is that the impact remains highly uneven. AI use remains concentrated in specific countries and occupations, affects some occupations different to others. Okay, this report is given a new baseline against which to compare our future surveys. Let's see here. Okay, as this becomes more reliable, these things become more reliable. It'll give it another indication of coming economic impacts, importance of business adoption. Okay. All right. So that was pretty good. Very, very interesting. The perspective here about how it's going to like affect certain types of occupations, particularly like white collar, like high skilled, in the sense of like desk job high skilled or college educated high skilled. That makes a lot of sense. It's very interesting. Looks like our tasks, that task success is going to go up over time, I'm sure. So it's just going to get better and better for a lot of these things. So if you're needing something to supplement a lot of your desk type work, like a good example could be like a receptionist, or like a personal assistant, things like that. Those are going to be really, really, really useful cases for AI now and also going forward, in my opinion. Let me take another look here at our chat to see if we've got any new items from anyone. Any new questions? Okay. I'm not seeing anything. I think I closed down YouTube by accident. My apologies, guys. All right. Now I can see you again. Good deal. Okay. All right. Let me see if we've got any in our spreadsheet. Nope. Okay. Let's move on to our next articles here real quick, and then we're gonna move toward our vibe coding, picking back up where we left off. I'm gonna move quickly through these other ones because I want to make sure we have time for the vibe coding. All right, so we have this article, business that scales with the value of intelligence, OpenAI. So the summary of this is that OpenAI is scaling. And this chart, I think, gives you kind of all you need to know here. This is their compute, like how much computing power that they need and are using. From 2024 to 2025, they have, what is that? To almost almost a 4 times. It's like a 3 to 4 times increase. And then their profitability, their revenue has gone up from 6 billion to 20 billion. So they are growing. And we see a lot of their, they've had a lot of deals going on. There was something I heard recently about them, basically partnering with somebody for new chips to help them with their inference. So basically the chips that will actually like run the models and give you back your results. So if they get that in there, it's going to get just better and better. Like it's going to be more efficient. They're going to be able to serve a lot more people. It's going to be faster. So that'll compound. Our next article here from OpenAI, our approach to advertising and expanding access to ChatGPT. So they are announcing, this kind of goes with this other article. They're announcing this ChatGPT Go, which is available now worldwide. They introduced it to India as a low-cost subscription in 2025 of August. It's available for $8 a month. which is really cool. So they've got a Go now, a Plus, and a Pro. What you get in the Go is that Go is designed for people who want expanded access to their latest model at a lower price point, more messages, more uploads, more image creation. You get 10 more messages and image creation than with a free tier. You can keep chatting with no limits on GPT 5.2 Instant. Get longer memory and context window. It now sits alongside our 2 existing. Okay. So the thing here, though, is that this is going to have ads. So they're going to be adding ads in the free tier and in the ChatGPT Go subscription levels. And that's kind of what this is about. So, you know, they're going to be, you know, they go into their spiel here about they're trying to serve the best ads and things like that to you. So maybe for some people that'll be annoying if you're on the free tier, or if you only wanted the lowest tier. But the benefit to this, in my opinion, is just that, you know, in the long run, this means that they're going to be able to actually like grab a larger user base in general, and then they'll be able to make more money and then pour that back into making their models better, making their services better, so on and so forth. So it makes sense. If you don't want the ads, then all you have to do is pay for the Plus subscription. It's like $20 a month. So if that's something that you value, is not having those ads, I think you probably also are going to get like higher usage and things like that. Then you'll want to check out the ChatGPT Plus subscription. But otherwise, if you just need something that's a little better than the free version, sounds like that $8 a month subscription is actually going to be pretty good for most people. Okay, guys, that is it for our articles. Let me check our chat again to see if we've got anything new here that needs to be addressed. Okay, I'm not seeing anything here. Let me see if we've got any. Okay, nothing in the spreadsheet either. So we are going to move on to our final bit here before we do our giveaway. We're going to go ahead and get into the anti-gravity vibe coding. So this is, again, something that we picked up a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to have an app to help me do my goal setting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this thing up, and I'm going to open up my folder again. We were just kind of exploring this thing a little bit, kind of getting a sense of, you know, what could this really do? And overall, I was pretty pleased with it. There's still some things about this. Let me go ahead and share my screen. There's still some things about this that, you know, I'm still learning, and that's just because it's a new editor, and I don't use it all the time, and so it's just one of those things. You gotta use it to learn more about it. Let me move myself over here to the right hand side. I'm gonna pop myself up on that screen, and so maybe I can actually maybe I'll do over here. We'll see how that goes. I might have to move myself around a little bit more. So basically, what you guys didn't see by the time I logged off was that we actually did get our little application up and running. And I hadn't really done much with it since then, but I should go ahead and show that off at least. So let's go ahead and say, I'm going to ask it, please go ahead and spin up the application. Now, as a part of all of what I kind of did here, I made sure that I asked it to document things as it was going. So like you can see, we have a README. We have information in here about how this thing should actually spin up the app and so on and so forth. And so This is stuff I know a little bit more about just because I've got a technical background, but you can ask it questions if you don't understand something and ask it to do things. So what we're going to go ahead and do is have this thing spin up. I am using a paid subscription, so I have access to like the Pro, High, and the planning mode, or the fast mode. So I can do a little bit more of these things. Let's go ahead and hit the send button, and it's going to work on generating that stuff. So it says I'm now focusing on starting up the application. It's looking at the README to check how it should be doing things. Okay. Now I could have just run this command myself, I suppose. But where's the fun in that? We're vibe coding, right? So we're going to let it do its thing. The reason it's what it did is it detected as a part of the start here what it thinks is a need to do a build for the styling files. Okay. So the other thing that I kind of did here, yeah, we'll let you access other apps. The other thing that I kind of did here was I changed my mode around a little bit, and I think I did that here in my settings. Yeah. And this is kind of what we originally set it up with. But I changed my mode. I said, hey, like, let's auto-fix lints, and let's auto-execute things, and let's always proceed. So I changed a lot of that so I wouldn't have to keep clicking yes over and over and over again on this thing. Okay, so it wants to use the browser. Let's set that up. And here we go. Oh. Let me move that over so you guys can see it. Okay, so it's trying to load in. The other thing that we did last time was I have forgotten my little short keys for this. Was it Command E? Yes, it was. Okay. Command E gives us this thing, this manager thing. And so basically this kind of shows us, like, you get like a little inbox of stuff coming in. You can see your workspaces for things here. So debugging core features. Yeah, so I need to understand a little bit more about these things, but browser setup is required. What I did last time is I hit this little browser button, and it helped me like go through and set up this thing. Oh, I think it doesn't like this because I think I'm in the wrong. I've got like a couple different Chrome profiles open, and so it doesn't like the one that it opened. Let me see if I can swap over to, I think I've got one here somewhere. Let me see if I can pull up the one that I had. And then move this over here. Maybe it'll just kind of detect here that we already had a thing going. And I can just say, let me pause, let me hit the cancel here. I already have the extension installed. Please try again. Actually, let me move the let me move this over to my other screen because I think I have to have this like one of the last activated browsers. Okay, please try again. I've got multiple screens going on, so that's why you guys are seeing me do all this. Please try again. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Oh, I think it reopened it. In a different window that I was not trying, but I can move that one around. That's fine. All right, so it can see that it started. We're good there. And let me see if I can like drag this thing over into here. I think maybe this was... Okay. All right, so we should be good there. So this is the app that got built. So pretty neat that it was able to build this so far. If I go to create a goal, I can, let's see here, create a goal. I want to create a goal. Okay. Personal goal rating. Oh, this is a goal that I actually created, I think. And I need some way to like delete the goal. It's like supposed to be, I guess that's going to be a sign in for me later, but it is functioning. So we can say, let's see here, show off goal feature to our viewers. Everyone should see this. Okay, and then our value proposition, what it is that we're looking to get out of this. Let's say very high, immediate, create a goal. And there we go. So, you know, if we reload that page, that's there, which is cool. So we have this thing here, and looks like we can click that. Okay, interesting. So we did that and it automatically created this tasks, but I can't do much more with this. I've kind of forgotten our features. It's been because it's been 2 weeks. Let's see here. No. Okay, we're gonna skip that. All right. So let's say what are the next set of features? Let's ask, what are the features that you believe you've created, you've implemented? And one of the things I asked it to do was to track, if I remember correctly, I thought I had asked it to like track our progress somewhere. I'm not really seeing that. I'm starting to question now because I thought I had asked it to create the file. And typically I would do this in these vibe coded projects. Anywhere I'm using AI is I will essentially have it create like a plan and then track that plan. And as it adds more features, go through and just mark off, hey, you did this, hey, you did this, hey, you did this. So let's see if we can open that up a little bit. They're scanning the code base. I remember there also being like artifacts that we could create, or that it can create. Oh, okay, that little open agent manager, that's that Control E. Okay, and then we can chat within that little workspace. That's cool. Okay. Where is your overall plan listed? I'd like to pick up where we left off. So it looks like it's going to search the workspace. It's going to try to find... Okay, there is a task MD. Did I miss it? I have no idea where that task MD is. And implementation plan. Where is that? Okay, reconstructed your plan. Saved it to task MD. Okay. Okay, so this is our... Oh, yeah. Okay, so these are our artifacts. And... Okay. Artifacts are down here. Okay. So it thinks it did all these things. It wants to start with the additional stuff. Let's have it work on the testing suite. Please work on the testing suite. Typically, you know, so if I'm working on a software project, what I'm going to do, and this is for non-technical folks, if you're vibe coding anything, you want to create like a little tool for yourself. What I would do is I would tell the AI, hey, you need to have a plan for creating an automated test around these features. And you need to do it, you need to group those automated tests in with each new little feature you add. So like you can see here, goal and entity repository and dashboard UI and creating a goal flow and goal detail view and all these things. Like each of these things should have had tests built when they were being implemented. They should not have been implemented without some form of tests, and that's just so that way as you go, you are forming a base at which you don't break anything going backwards. The other reason you want to do this, related to that, is that the AI, you can tell the AI actually to run your tests. Whenever you can say, hey, whenever you add a new feature, make sure you make some changes, make sure you rerun all your tests. And if anything is broken, then figure out what was broken and then make sure you fix it. So that way it's working properly and the feature is implemented properly. And so you just have it do that little bit by little bit, and it'll come out with a much better result overall. I'm doing this right now with a project I'm doing as a CTO and at a new company. And when I ask it to add a bunch of code, it automatically runs all my tests and everything. And then I'm able to just kind of review and make sure everything is looking good. And if it is, then I say, okay, all right, good. Well, let's move on to the next thing. All right, I have successfully implemented and verified the automated testing suite. So okay, yeah, and you can see here, it says all 8 tests are passing. And so I'm going to say, could you please review the code base and identify all the potential tasks, the code base, both the code base and project plan, and identify all the potential test cases and scenarios that might need automated tests. Then write and run those tests until everything is working as expected. And so this bit about the tests, this is actually kind of important if you're vibe coding, and this is something not most people, well, I'll just be honest, it's not just non-technical people. Technical people, for some reason, struggle with the automated tests as well, and I think it's just because it's not immediately obvious why you're writing the tests if the code that you're implementing is verifiable. Like if you can run the code and you can see that it's working according to your expectations. The reason you write tests is not just to say, okay, this thing is running. The reason you write tests is so that way you can define your expected behavior, and then as you move forward, you don't break your expected behavior. And that's the key. It's so that way, if you have multiple team members working on something and somebody introduces a change into the code base that breaks everything for everyone, then you don't want that thing to get pushed out to your production systems because it'll impact all of your users and it could have some disastrous effects. So the tests are there to enforce the behavior of your application. Even if a brand new person comes along, or even if it's you coming along, like in my case, 2 weeks later, and you've kind of forgotten some of the details of all the details that you've specified originally, and it can help basically set guardrails for the application. And so that's why you really want this. And I think this is a big thing that I have not seen many people talk about when they do vibe coding is you really want a way to create and run automated tests, and these AI are great at writing automated tests, and they can run it. So there's no sense in not having it. All right, so they expanded the test suite. I have identified several variable test scenarios. I will now run the tests. All right, well, it didn't just do it, so I'm just say, okay, great. Please write and run those tests. I wish it would have just done the thing, but there is a way to set up your systems. And I haven't played with this much myself just yet, but there is a way to set up your systems so that way. I see your message there, Chris. So Chris, you can drop your questions in the chat there. I can see everything that you put into the chat. If you have a longer question, you don't want to split it up. If you had a longer question that you didn't want to split up among multiple chat messages, then there is a link there in the chat to be able to submit your longer questions. It has a bit more space. So otherwise, Chris, feel free to just drop your question inside of the chat and I'll see it. We're just kind of hanging out and vibe coding. So if you got questions, please ask them. Anything related to automation, AI, happy to answer those. So, where was I? So I think I was saying, last thing I remember saying was that you want to include this testing bit as a part of your process. Oh, and I was saying there is a way to get this thing to run like constantly. There's this technique called like the Ralph, I think it's Ralph Wiggum. He's like a Simpsons character, but it's just named after him. It doesn't have anything really to do with the Simpsons, but it's supposed to be like dead simple. Like, hey, you keep running, keep doing the thing until you see that you've completely worked everything out. Everything looks good. Otherwise you get stops like this, and it doesn't keep going. So we've created our testing suite. Okay, that's good. Now let's go back here to our app. So if I reload that page and let's say I go in here, like I have our tasks. It's not that great. It was supposed to be AI generated. That's not really what I was looking for. What I was looking for was a way for me to set like a timeline and everything, and or to say, hey, I want to have this skill by this date, and then have the AI just kind of like break down what are the measurable things I need to do from that point backwards on my calendar, and then help me time block things. So that's kind of what I was looking for. Let's see here. I'm going to ask it to please. I think I'll go back and add those features. Let's have it continue with our authentication because I wanted a login. I think it'd be cool if I could make this run for some other people. I'm not entirely sure if I want to do. I just want to make it compatible. We'll see. Maybe this could be handy for a couple of folks. So let's see here. Chris, I don't know if you're still around. If you are, drop that question there in the chat, or you can do that over inside of the spreadsheet and I'll see that come in live on my side. All right, let's have it continue. Please continue implementing the features and the automated tests as you add the features. So I'll just repeat this again for the tests. If you're vibe coding, okay, so before, maybe not just the test. Okay, so if you're vibe coding and you're not traditionally a technical person, there is a tool you probably want to learn how to use. You want to learn how to use a tool called Git. It's called GIT. And the reason you want to learn how to use this tool, GIT, is because basically this is a piece of software that helps you control the versions of all the things that you're working on. And if you break something, you can undo the changes. It's like a control Z for your code. It also lets you do way more complex things like push your code up to another server somewhere so that way you don't lose your information, your code. If something happens to your computer, you can pull it back down to whatever machine. You can work from multiple machines. You could work alongside multiple people. This is what people in our industry use to develop software. Anti-gravity is built on a code editor called Visual Studio Code, and it should have in it an integration with Git. And we can see that's what this little thing is here. So this source control window that pops out, you can make a commit. Looks like they have a nice little generate button, so the AI can actually commit the messages for you, or create the messages for you, which is really, really cool. But you can basically commit this thing, create a commit of your changes, and that way, like, you can go back through your versions if you ever run into a problem. My dad was working. I introduced him to this thing in anti-gravity, and he was playing with stuff and building stuff, and he was having a good time with it, but he kept running into an issue where the AI started breaking his things that he had already implemented. And the thing I hadn't yet taught him is how to do, like, use version control to manage these things. And I hadn't yet taught him about the testing. But if he had had both of those things, if he had kind of understood how to do those things, then he probably would not have had... Oh, it ran into an issue here. If he had those two things in place, he would not have had any issues. I have not yet for this project done many git commits into my version history, really any, because I'm just kind of playing around. But once I kind of start to get towards something I like, I probably need to actually, like, commit that thing. And the test will help kind of keep this thing on the guardrails. With a browser sub agent. Okay, so it wants to... Yeah, it wants to do the thing again. And I need to really, like... I really, really need to make sure that it's able to go do the thing. It's trying to open this up. Sorry, give me a second, guys. Let me swap my... It's trying to open it up in a different profile. Let me try. Continue. And you have to, with Chrome, you gotta, like, reinstall your extensions. Okay. Let me turn on my left screen again. All right, we're at 7:15. We're starting to get a little late here. What we may do is we may just kind of pick this back up next time. Or, you know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and do our giveaway. So, while this thing is running, we're going to go ahead and do our giveaway of Alex Hormozi's book. And maybe I'll hang out for a minute or two more around this just to kind of wrap up some loose ends on it. Because I'd like to move this forward just a little bit by little bit here and there. Let me go ahead and pull up our form. So if you clicked our form earlier for the giveaway and you entered your name in, we're going to go ahead and pull that now. Give me just a moment while I swap over to my form. Now, just as a reminder, we're giving away up to 9 copies. We have 9 left to give away during these live streams. And the only thing you have to do if you win a copy is pay for the shipping. And you're not paying that to me, you're paying it to the shipping company. The book itself is paid for, and then you'll get that thing delivered to your doorstep. So that's $30, $30 to $35 you didn't have to pay for the book, which is really nice. Let me go ahead and pull up that form. Okay. Let's change our date here to 01. 2026. All right. There are no entries for today, guys. Next time you'll have a chance to win. So I do these weekly. And I only do a giveaway during the live stream. So if you come in and you watch this after the fact and then you enter your name in, just be aware, I'm not going back to previous entries. If you want to win a copy of Alex Hormozi's book, you need to be able to come here to the live stream. That's part of the just participating, right? It's just part of being here. If you're here, you can win a copy. So those are kind of the stipulations. Let me go ahead and check this thing. Okay, it wants to use the browser again. I'm going to just install. Let me just click the install extension. So this is what you end up doing. You just say, hey, yeah, install the extension. Boom. Okay, and then we're good to go. There we go. So now it's able to like go in and you can kind of see it's doing its thing here. Checking the DOM, all that good stuff. So I'm not doing anything here. It's just trying to check the page. Looks like it's having an issue with one of the pages. And so it's just kind of working through all of those things. So this is for the login pages that are going to be here. One of the things I kind of wanted was I wanted the ability to log in with like your social, like your Google account or your Microsoft account or something like that. Especially because, agent needs me to do something. Return to agent. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's just say always allow. I don't care. I'm going to let it do its thing. So what I was thinking about for this little vibe coded app was, can we like, I really wanted it to be able to time box on my calendar. Like all the things I have to do, right? The action items, the things you have to do to be able to actually accomplish your goal. I want it to get time boxed on my calendar. So that way, I can just see like it gets pushed to the calendar from the app, but then the app itself is actually tracking whether or not those things were done and tracking all the metrics and stuff like that. And so then it's just a matter of visualization and notifications, right? I know some people use like Microsoft. I think it'd be really useful for a Microsoft calendar. Maybe there's some other calendar option, something like that. So anyways, that's kind of the idea is just for this to be an easy way for you to track the things that you want to build on during the year. Whether it's a skill, whether it's something in your business specifically, whatever it is. This year for myself, I'm cutting back a couple of things, and I am trying to also grow in a couple areas. So like I'm trying to grow. One of the things, I got to get through a few things first, but one of the areas I want to grow is learning more about business acquisition. I want to learn also, I'm right now learning how to play the piano. It's been like 2 years since I last picked up playing, and I didn't get very far before we had an issue with mold and had to throw out the keyboard. And so it was frustrating. And now I have a piano again. And so I'm going through and I'm learning and I'm teaching myself at my above 30 age. So it's those are just some of the things that I'm wanting to do, and I want to make sure I steward those things well. Man, it's trying so hard and it's just not able to it's just not able to get to the page. I think I need to just say, hey, you need to give up. because it's looping and looping. It's trying all these different like addresses. It's just going through. Okay, it's checking for certain types of errors, hitting a roadblock. There we go. Troubleshooting step taken. Okay, debugging connection error. So it found the error. Very, very cool. All right, so this thing is still running. So we've done our giveaway. If you're joining in here a little later, I was waiting to hopefully to hear from Chris again, but I think I may have taken a little too long for Chris. My apologies, Chris. I think I had swiped away on my right screen here, and I got a little too engrossed inside of the code. So I can see you now, but my apologies, Chris. If you do have questions, if you're here and you've got questions about AI, automation, anything like that, then please drop those in the chat on YouTube or on Facebook, if you're even able to see it on Facebook. I've had so many issues with Facebook. I don't even know if people can see it, honestly, and it's so frustrating. The other place is I've got a sheet, a Google sheet that's hooked up to the form that I linked in the chat earlier, and if you got a longer question, you can drop it in there. If you were here and you wanted to participate in the giveaway, we've already done our giveaway for the evening. We do that typically once a week, and we only do the giveaways during the live stream. You have to be here to be able to get a copy of the book. So if that's something that you want, then come join the live stream next week. We try to do it. I'm now doing it on Tuesday evenings for the foreseeable future. And bring a friend, bring a family member, whatever. Multiple of you guys can win copies. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you just sign up. It needs to be a unique person per sign up. And as long as it is, then you're good to go. So let's see how this thing is doing. It's struggle busting with this registration form. It's doing its best. One other thing I'll say here is that if you're also interested just generally in learning more about AI, something that might be of interest to you guys who are watching this is we actually have a podcast that I do with some friends of mine and the Sub2 community called the Automate Me Please podcast. And let me see if I can pull that up real quick. So if you go to YouTube, let me see if I can go to YouTube, and we go to Automate Me Please. You'll be able to see all of our episodes here. We just put out one. We had a special guest, Tiffany Chow, on here, and we talked about Google's newer payment protocol for AI agents. And that's going to be a game changer in the future for automating payments and like research and payments for us. So I think that's something that's definitely worth checking out. We cover interesting tools. We talk about these things like Emma and Mike. Typically, they have a real estate background. They are not like technical like I am. So at least they have not been. They're getting more and more so as they play with these tools. But we kind of get together so we can chat about all these things. They can ask questions of me and pick my brain, and we can go through these things. We can experiment. I can show them new tools, things that I'm playing with. We did like Nano Banana at one point as well. So that's a really great podcast for you guys if you're interested in learning more about tools or anything like that you think could help you learn more about the space and think through things. That's the thing is you got to be able and willing to learn with all this stuff that's going on. If you're not, then you're going to run into problems. All right. let's see here. It's still thinking. It's still tracking along and struggle busing. So I almost want to just like interrupt it. Says it's working. What is it working on now? Retrieving logs from browser. Now, keep in mind, I haven't touched this thing for... I told it to go implement the thing, and so now it's going to implement the thing, and it's just kind of going through and trying things over and over again. So, in theory, I could just leave this running all night if I really wanted to. I am going to say... Agent... It's okay. I'm gonna I don't know what this is that I just added to allow list. Oh, that's not really what I okay. Let's stop it. I think you need to reevaluate how you are testing the registration page. It obviously isn't working on any of the host names that you're trying. Instead, look at the logs, fix what needs to be fixed, restart a web server, and repeat until everything looks good. Only then should you open the browser. And so this is where being a little bit more technical is a benefit, because you can come in here and like I was able to say, hey, go look at the logs, go restart the app, like do it in this order. And that's just because I'm so used to doing stuff like that, that it makes sense. So that's probably gonna, we'll see if that fixes the issue. Hey, there we go. We got it. So now it's going through our now it's going through and actually testing, and I'm not doing any of that right now. I'm just sitting back and watching it go. So I think it tried to register the account and it didn't get any feedback there. So now it's going to try, or maybe it took him to the new page. I'm not sure. All right. That registration page probably didn't work like it was supposed to. So It's looking at the page. All right, you guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up here for the evening. Before I do, let me make sure you guys have a way to get reminders for future Q&As. And let me also make sure I didn't miss anyone's comments here. All right. I'm not seeing any new comments anywhere. So what we're going to do is we're just kind of bring this to a close. Thank you for coming, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful evening hanging out here. We talked about a lot of stuff. There was more progress made on the goal setting app, which is really nice. So maybe I'll have something that I can share with you guys in the near future. I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up here. But if you would like to be able to join us for our next Q&A and you'd like to get email reminders, I have that QR code there on the screen for you. And then also I'm going to drop the link here in the chat on YouTube and on Facebook as well. If you, again, want to get those email reminders, then click that link and you can sign up to get those. We usually send those out at least 24 hours before and then 10 minutes before our live stream sessions. So I would love to have you guys again with us next time, but it is time to go. So again, thank you for being here. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening and a wonderful week. As always, thanks for coming in. Take it easy. Bye-bye.